Hello everyone, we're sending everyone back to puppy school. Get ready, we're gonna do some back to school stories today. Hello, the dog days of summer are upon us. That means it's time to get ready to go back to school. Right, girls? Okay, so let's share some of the brand new picture books that just came out this year. There's many school stories available at the library, but I just want to share with you some of the new ones for the new school year. I'll show you a couple of them and I'll read a couple more. Here's the first one. It's Our Classroom Rules, and this one is written by Callie George and illustrated by Jay Fleck. And it's a very good book for everyone going back to school. Another one, this one is called Giant-Sized Butterflies, My First Day of School. And we all get butterflies, even if we're going to the same school we've been to before, even if we know some of the other kids and maybe our teacher. It's still pretty normal to get butterflies in our tummies on the first day of school. This one is written by Justin Roberts, and it's illustrated by Paula Escobar. Come check it out at the library. Now, the first story I'm going to read to you today is a little bit different, and it's not the same story as everyone has for their first day of school, but it's a great story, and I'm happy to share with you The Bright Side. This one is written by Chad Otis. When home is an old bus, optimism is your superpower. Can you imagine living in an old school bus? Let's see how this story plays out. The Bright Side by Chad Otis. We live in an old school bus now, at least until we can get a normal house again. It was hard saying goodbye to my friends. Look on the bright side, said Mom and Dad. You get to make new friends wherever we go. But I don't want to look on the bright side. Sometimes it's hard when we're upset to look on the bright side of things, isn't it? The bright side means when you move all the time, you get to do school on the bus. And when you have mostly just bread and ketchup, you get to make pizza toast instead of real pizza. And when you don't have a bathroom, you get to take showers in the great outdoors. Have you ever been washed off in the hose? It means that when it's super cold, you get to have family snuggle time. And when you can't afford something you really want, ever been told no because it's too expensive? It means you get to imagine and try and keep trying. Until eventually, you do something you didn't know you could do. Look what they made. Their own superhero. It's hard sometimes, but after a while, I felt like I could do just about anything when I looked on the bright side. I still don't have any new friends, though. Sometimes making friends is hard, isn't it? Then one day, Mom says she thinks it's time to park the bus so that I can go to a real school. Even though Dad says living on a bus is like school for life. I'm excited to finally make some new friends, but it's my first time at a real school. My insides feel jumbled up. That's something we can all relate to, isn't it? Our first day at a new school. In class, the teacher says, "Remember, we're having a pizza and movie party later," which sounds really great. But sitting in one place for so long makes me antsy. So I go outside. The teacher says I need to stay inside and pay attention. So I stay inside and pay close attention to making a drawing. But the teacher says I need to please pay attention to her. Sometimes it's hard to pay attention, isn't it? Real school is very different from bus school. Everyone knows how everything works. Everyone except me. I'm glad when it's lunchtime, but I didn't bring any lunch. On the bright side, I find some leftovers. I'm even more glad when the bell rings for recess. It seems like a good time to make new friends. But it doesn't look like anyone needs a new friend. Don't we all need a new friend sometimes? Then I see some kids playing their hero pals. I tell them about my hero pal, but they don't seem to get it. Maybe it's because I made him up. I start to worry that none of these kids will want to be my friend. I'm pretty sure they don't live on a bus or take showers outside or have family snuggles to stay warm like me. It's hard to look on the bright side today. Back in class, the teacher has some bad news. The pizza oven is broken and the movie screen is stuck. I'm really sorry, but the party is canceled, she says. We just can't do it. But I have an idea. If we imagine and try, maybe we can do it. Because I'm pretty sure we can do just about anything. If we look on the bright side. There. Now they have some new friends. Wasn't that a good story? This was The Bright Side by Chad Otis, one of the new back-to-school picture books you can find at the library right now. Next story is called I Can Be All Three. And this one is written by Salima Alikan and illustrated by Noor Sophie. I Can Be All Three. At home, Papa cooks keema and tikka masala. We eat with our hands. Stories from India fill the room. Bungalows and mango groves, pink temples and red sunsets, and the rosy dusks sing me to sleep. At home, Mama cooks bratwurst and schnitzel, and we eat with forks and knives. Stories of Germany fill the night, castles and mountains, old forests and fairy tales. I am woven into those dreams. At school, I speak English, eat pizza, cheeseburgers, chips. Books are full of bright heroes, chases and explosions, flash on little screens like thunder, thunder, thunder. We talk fast, we move faster. The teacher tells us it's almost time for Multicultural Day, where we decorate the classroom and celebrate our cultures. Each of you will make or bake a special item that tells the story of who you are. Multicultural Day. In class, fingers fly to cut and paste, sculpt and build. My classmates' smiles are bright and sure. I'm making nesting dolls. I'm making a dollar horse. Oh, says our teacher, I have one of those at home. What will you make? Jenny asked me. My hands go still. What will I make? Should I make marigolds that float like the sun in the Indian breeze? Or should I make lanterns bright as little moons crisscross through the starry night? Or maybe I could make a bird that sings a soft cuckoo into the German morning. Or blooms that spill like laughing bells with window boxes way up high. Oh, or what about my books of heroes with hearts as brave as stars? I could make those instead. I try to make the perfect item that tells the story of who I am. But nothing feels like quite enough. After dinner, Mama and Papa bring out the strudel. I help Mama knead the ras malai, and I helped Papa bake and some ice cream. Which one would you like? They asked. The usual, I say. I'll fix a plate that we all can share. I pile on some of each. Ras malai as sweet as golden honey, strudel crisscrossed in a powdery braid, ice cream dolloped on top. We share the dish and I stare at the desserts piled high, all 3 of them in one, and I begin to wonder. If all 3 worlds are right inside me, do I have just to be one? Am I allowed to be all 3? Do you need help with your assignment? Mama and Papa ask. I don't think so, I say. What do you think they're going to do? Maybe I don't have to choose. My heart pounds when Multicultural Day arrives. Nearby are Amy's little Dalla horse and Ethan's tam o' shanter hat. Teacher smiles down at me. What have you brought? Tremble and I step aside so my words are out for all to see. This is what tells the story of who I am. The small bird gives her soft cuckoo. The lanterns glint from wall to wall. The strudel and the ras malai smell sweet inside their dishes, and my book upon the table waits for me. How lovely, Teacher exclaims. From Julian's table we hear music dripping soft as rain. From Zimbabwe, he says shyly. And Acarina from Mexico. Jan steps forward too. A dunking painting from China. Ras malai from Norway. Are you 3 too? The Mbira clinks softly in the lantern light, and the smells fill the room. And in all of it, we feel a hush hope of many worlds wrapped up inside us. India, Germany, America, they are all tucked inside me, side by side, telling the story of who I am. I don't have to be 1 or 2. I can be all 3. And this book is a little autobiographical, so it talks about the author's experience with her family that came from different cultures and mixed together. This was I Can Be All Three. All right, one more story for you today, and this one is about one of my favorite positions in the school. It's about the school librarian, of course. This is called The Brilliant Miss Bangle, and this is written by Kara Devins. The Brilliant Miss Bangle. Is there a librarian at your school? Sometimes you'll see one of the librarians from the library come to school, don't you? It's always a lot of fun for us. The Brilliant Miss Bangle. It was the very first day of school at Belford Elementary, and the students were so excited to be back. They jumped rope on the playground, unpacked their pencil cases, and greeted their friends. "Over the summer I saw 6 seagulls at the beach," exclaimed Bertie Frisk. "I rode in a car for a long time to visit my Aunt Chelsea," Marty bragged. "She has a poodle named Pepper." "And I ate hot sauce by accident," admitted Putnam McFarlane. "I didn't like it." Summer sure was fun, but everyone agreed it was great to be back at school. You like this story, Poppy? Just as the students settled in, however, they were told some alarming news. The school librarian, Miss Stack, had moved over the summer. "That can't be," yelled Bertie. "She was my favorite," moaned Marty. Now, said Principal Lyle. "We have a new librarian named Miss Bangle, and I think you're all going to like her." "Not me," muttered Putnam McFarlane. "Clearly you mean not I," corrected Principal Lyle. Putnam rolled his eyes. Clearly Principal Lyle did not understand. The students talked about how much they loved Miss Stack. She was so nice. She smelled like cinnamon and was always smiling. And last year, she led the students in making bookmarks. Bertie still had hers. Nope, no one could replace Miss Stack. Together, the kids hatched a plan. They would not welcome Miss Bangle. They would refuse to read with her until Miss Stack came back. Everyone loved the plan. Later, when it came to go to the library, the students exchanged glances. Then they filed into the library and took their seats. Where was Miss Bangle? They wondered. Maybe she'd heard of their plan and simply gone home. They would be lucky. But all of a sudden, the door swung open, and in walked Miss Bangle. The students could tell immediately that she was very different from Miss Stack. "Good afternoon, children. I'm the new librarian, Miss Bangle, and here are a few things to know about me. My middle name is Matilda. I've been to Spain 3 times and I love peaches. Is there anything you'd like me to know about you? Birdie wanted to tell Miss Bangle that she loved peaches too, but she didn't. Instead, she looked down at her shoes. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to learn as we go. If there's one thing I always say, it's never too late to learn. And you should never have soup before noon. Oops, that's 2 things. The students had never heard of that fact about soup. They really wanted to smile, but they knew better. So, which story should we read today? Asked Miss Bangle. Nobody answered. Marty purposely stared out the window and watched the kindergartners playing in the leaves. Miss Bangle looked around and picked up an old dusty book. How about this one? It's called The Rise of the Lithograph, Printing in the 18th Century England. Marty stifled a giggle. Silly me, said Miss Bangle. You've probably already read that. What else is there? Miss Bangle picked up a brochure. How about this? It's the town parking policies for holidays. Did you know there's no parking on Celery Street during parades? Birdie thought this was hilarious, but she couldn't let on. In order to stop herself from laughing, she bit down on her lip. Ow, she exclaimed. Or, I guess we could read this book. Daisy at the Lagoon. Miss Bangle held up a book that looked truly terrific. What do you think of this book? Does that look like a good one? Putnam had never read it and desperately wanted to know what was going to happen with Daisy at the lagoon. But he knew they couldn't read it. We don't want to read with you, blurted Putnam. You're not Miss Stack. We love Miss Stack, and we want her back. Miss Bangle took a deep breath. Oh, I see. She thought for a moment. The students wondered what she would say next. I wish I could change your mind, she said, but I know I cannot. No, you can't, agreed Birdie. The students are not being very welcoming, are they? How do you think Miss Bangle feels about that? I guess this isn't the worst thing, said Miss Bangle. I have some odds and ends to take care of, a few emails to answer, a pair of pants to hem. Oh, and I should call my dear friend Dasha and see how she's recovering from her rotator cuff surgery. What's a rotator cuff surgery? Wondered Marty. All righty, said Miss Bangle, standing up. I'm going to leave you kids over here. But I do need to assign you a few library tasks since you've given me the afternoon off. Of course, said Putnam, wondering what they would be. First, I'll need you to sort these and put them back. Miss Bangle pointed to a large pile of books. Marty gulped. Next, I'll need you to take these empty boxes down to the basement. Our new books arrived in them, and now they're just cluttering up this place. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's clutter and burnt popcorn. Oops, that's two things. Putnam didn't like burnt popcorn either, but he wasn't about to say so. And lastly, Principal Lyle needs your help later to review lesson plans for the 4th and 5th graders. You don't need to finalize them, but you should get close. Bertie had no idea how to make a lesson plan. She knew how to make toast and say hello in sign language, but neither of those things seemed particularly helpful right now. Gracias, said Miss Bangle, and that's how you say thank you in Spain. She skipped to her desk and picked up her phone, presumably to call Dasha. I don't want to go down to the basement, and I don't know how to make a lesson plan, announced Bertie. Okay, I'll make the lesson plan, said Marty, but I'm not going down to the basement. Well, why should I go down to the basement? Putnam demanded to know. I've heard it's dark and smells like lima beans. The students were exasperated. They looked over at Miss Bangle, who, they had to admit, looked pretty happy. All right, said Putnam. How about we all go to the basement together, and after we put the books away, do the lesson plan. A few minutes into sorting books, however, Bertie began to get bored. This was no fun. I think I'd like to read with Miss Bangle, she whispered. Me too, added Marty quickly. Putnam hated to admit it, but he agreed. Reading with Miss Bangle sounds like more fun, doesn't it? Together, the students approached Miss Bangle, who jumped when she saw them. Oh, hello, she said. I forgot you children were even here. Have you had any luck with those lesson plans? Miss Bangle, we think we might like to read with you after all, said Bertie. We know you're not Miss Stack, but you do seem nice. And funny, piped up Putnam. Miss Bangle smiled. Well, okay, she said. I'll just have to finish hemming these pants later on. If there's one thing I won't stand for, it's pants that don't fit. And birthday cakes without candles. Oops! That's two things. I keep doing that. And the students roared with laughter. They all took their seats in the reading circle and listened intently as Miss Bangle read Daisy at the Lagoon. Later on, the students began to wonder if pretending she didn't want to read with them had been Miss Bangle's plan all along. If so, they had to admit that her plan was brilliant. Her plan worked out pretty well, didn't it? Some happy faces with some fun books. That's my kind of story. Well, I hope you enjoyed our stories today. Good luck this school year. We'll see you soon. Bye, friends.